Britain in the early 1960s was a land of rattling factories, stubborn optimism, and a car industry standing proudly on the world stage, yet trembling beneath the surface. Coventry, the heart of this mechanical empire, echoed with the clang of metal-pressing machines and the rumble of thousands of workers arriving before dawn. In these shadowed workshops, the Roots Group faced a storm of reality. The Minx was old, the Imp was troublesome, and the Hunter alone couldn't defend their territory against Ford's mighty Cortina. So, behind closed doors, Roots quietly initiated Project D6, the B-Car, a blueprint meant to strike back. A small team of designers, led by young Roy Axe, began sketching something unlike anything Britain was building. Sleeker, youthful, semi-fastback, with American flair and European sensibility. Axe insisted they needed a car with presence, a machine that looked fast, even standing still. In chilly studios lit by single lamps, early clay models were shaped and reshaped, their curves hinting at a new era. Nobody involved could guess that this effort would one day become the Hillman Avenger, a car destined to travel continents, challenge rally giants, and leave behind a legacy far louder than its modest appearance ever suggested. By 1965, Project D6 evolved into a serious contender. The Avenger wasn't designed as a stopgap. Its engineering brief demanded speed, practicality, and strength in equal measure. Designers refined it into a compact saloon with generous cabin space, clean curvature, and the early form of the hockey stick rear lamps that later became iconic. But the real revolution happened far from styling boards. Roots became one of the first British manufacturers to employ computer-aided design. In an era of slide rules and ashtrays overflowing with pencils, engineers fed punch card data into mainframes to simulate panel stress and torsional rigidity. The outcome was a remarkably strong unibody shell that absorbed impacts with precision few rivals could match. Engineering debates raged with almost philosophical intensity. Flat 4 engines were considered, experimental suspensions were tested, new cam arrangements explored. Eventually, the Avenger received a high-cam pushrod engine, giving OHC-like breathing without expensive complexity. Interiors were crafted with rare attention. Ergonomic controls and fashion-forward colors predicted trends for the coming decade. The Avenger quietly pushed British engineering into the future, while rivals assumed Roots would play safe. The Avenger's journey from drawing board to showroom was far from smooth. Britain in the late 1960s was plagued by union strikes, supplier shortages, and political uncertainty, conditions that made building cars feel like battle. Bodies were stamped at Linwood in Scotland and then shipped nearly 300 miles south to Ryton, often arriving with misalignments caused by transport vibrations. Quality inspectors fought daily to correct inconsistencies, and early prototypes suffered from Britain's great automotive curse, rust. Yet despite these challenges, February 1970 marked the arrival of the Hillman Avenger in showrooms across the country, offered with 1,250 cubic centimeter and 1,500 cubic centimeter engines, front disc brakes, radial tires, and sharp pricing. It immediately caught attention. Motoring journalists called it peppy, predictable, and pleasingly modern, while families liked its space and fleet managers appreciated its economy. Sales soared past 50,000 within months. By the end of the decade, over 600,000 Avengers had rolled off British production lines, with estate models, sporty GTs, luxurious GLS trims, and economical fleet versions broadening its appeal. For countless drivers, the Avenger represented a first company car, or a first taste of independence, firmly embedding itself into the fabric of everyday British life. But the Avenger's true roar came not from showroom models, but from the Machine Chrysler competition department unleashed, the Avenger Tiger. Inspired by the Sunbeam Tiger's spirit, but built with a different purpose, the Tiger was crafted for homologation glory. The Tiger Mark I boasted a finely tuned 1,498 cubic centimeter engine, breathing through twin Weber carburetors, producing 92.5 horsepower and a 0 to 60 mile per hour time in under 9 seconds, remarkable for its class. It sported bold graphics, restall bucket seats, and that unmistakable bonnet bulge. Yet the true beasts were the rally-prepared versions built to dominate the stages. Desodel's team fitted BRM-developed 16-valve heads onto enlarged 2-liter blocks, producing over 200 horsepower, transforming the Avenger into a snarling, tail-happy machine capable of embarrassing much larger rivals. In 1971, a Plymouth Cricket, America's rebadged Avenger, claimed a stunning victory at the Press-On Regardless Rally in Michigan, shocking the motorsport world. Back home, Avengers dominated Group 1 rallying, the British Saloon Car Championship, and countless club events. Even young Colin McRae first cut his teeth in an Avenger 1600 GT. The Tiger wasn't just a trim, it was proof this humble car had real motorsport blood. While rally fans admired its performance, corporate strategists pushed the Avenger far beyond Europe. Chrysler's takeover meant America needed a compact import competitor. Thus, the Plymouth Cricket was born. Despite added safety bumpers and emissions tweaks, corrosion issues doomed it to poor sales. But in South America, the Avenger became a star. Brazil's Dodge 1800 and later the Polara embraced alcohol-based fuel technology as early as 1975, years ahead of global trends. In Argentina, the Dodge 1500 became more than a household car. It became a motorsport icon, later rebadged as the Volkswagen 1500 and claiming multiple TC2000 championships. Meanwhile, New Zealand assembled Avengers locally. South Africa fitted them with unique Peugeot engines, and Iran opted for Hunter power plants, showing just how globally adaptable the car had become, while Denmark introduced it as the Sunbeam Avenger. Across more than a dozen countries, the Avenger carried different names but retained the same essential character: simple, reliable, and remarkably adaptable. By the time international production came to an end, over 790,000 Avengers had traveled the world, leaving a lasting mark on automotive history. The late 1970s brought turmoil. Chrysler Europe was in crisis, mismanagement, poor timing, and economic chaos had left the company on life support. The Avenger received a final facelift, now sporting Chrysler badging, a revised dashboard inspired by the Alpine, and rectangular tail lamps that replaced the beloved hockey stick design, signaling the end of an era for Britain's versatile family car. Production moved entirely to Linwood, but cost-cutting stripped the model range, and sportier versions vanished in favor of prioritizing the newer Sunbeam. However, motorsport magic wasn't over. Engineers borrowed Avenger components for the Sunbeam Lotus rally car, which helped win the 1980 World Rally Championship.